2025. Been a wild ride for games so far, but there are still big games left to release. Let's see what titles the big 2025 is still holding for us. 1. Hell is Us. Hell is Us is an upcoming action-adventure game from Rogue Factor published by Nacon. It's set to release on September 4th, 2025 for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X/S, and PC. You play as Remy, a former UN peacekeeper who goes AWOL and travels to the war-torn country of Yōtei in search of his parents. But things quickly take a darker turn as the land is crawling with supernatural creatures known as the Hollow Walkers, born out of a mysterious event called the Calamity. The game is played from a third-person perspective with a heavy focus on melee combat. Remy can use weapons like swords, polearms, and axes, each with their own attack style and speed. He's also equipped with a drone, which can distract enemies during encounters. Managing health and stamina is key. Stamina regenerates, but health doesn't, and the lower your health, the weaker your stamina pool becomes, leaving you more vulnerable if you overexert yourself. Exploration takes place in what the developers call a semi-open world. Unlike most modern games, there are no quest logs, no waypoints, and no map markers. Instead, you'll have to pay close attention to conversations with NPCs and gather clues to progress. The idea is to create a more immersive and organic experience, with minimal 8UD elements inspired by classic 90s games. Development is led by Jonathan Jacques Belletet, best known as the art director of Deus Ex, Human Revolution, and Mankind Divided. He's cited the 2018 film Annihilation and the Southern Reach trilogy as major inspirations for the project. Hell is Us was originally announced back in 2022, but after some delays it resurfaced during Sony's 2024 State of Play, and now it's officially locked in for a September 2025 launch. 2. Hollow Knight, Silksong. Hollow Knight. Silksong is the long-awaited sequel to the 2017 indie hit, developed and published by Team Cherry. It's finally set to release on September 4th, 2025, launching across basically every major platform, including Switch, Switch 2, PlayStation, Xbox, Windows, macOS, and Linux. This time, players step into the role of Hornet, the former princess of Hallownest, who's captured and taken to a mysterious new kingdom called Farloom, a land described as being haunted by silk and song. To escape, she must undertake a deadly pilgrimage to the kingdom's peak, uncovering secrets tied to her past along the way. Gameplay builds on the original Hollow Knight, keeping the familiar Metroidvania platforming and combat, but expanding it with Hornet's faster, more acrobatic movement style and quicker healing. The world is much larger than before, featuring over 200 new enemies, 40+ bosses, and around 100 benches spread throughout its areas. One of its zones, Greymoor, is said to be among the biggest maps Team Cherry has ever created. Silksong also introduces a quest system divided into 4 categories: Gather, Wayfarer, Hunt, and Grand Hunt, given by NPCs or through quest boards. A new currency system has been added too: rosaries, which act like geo, but can be secured on a string so they aren't lost on death, and shell shards used for repairing and crafting new tools. The game was originally planned as DLC for Hollow Knight, but the scope quickly outgrew that idea and turned into a full standalone sequel back in 2019. Development has taken years, partly because of Team Cherry's small size and their commitment to polishing every detail. According to the studio's founders, they had to force themselves to stop adding new content just to avoid more delays. But they've confirmed that, just like the first game, post-launch updates are already planned. 3. Dying Light, The Beast. Dying Light, The Beast is Techland's upcoming survival horror, releasing September 19th, 2025 on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X/S, and PC, with PS4 and Xbox One versions arriving later in the year. The game marks the return of Kyle Crane, the original protagonist of Dying Light. After 13 years of captivity and cruel experiments at the hands of a villain known as the Baron, Crane breaks free, driven by revenge. Set in Castor Woods, a rural tourist spot now overrun with zombies, the game keeps the series' signature first-person action and parkour, but also adds the option to drive a 4x4 vehicle through the infected wilderness. Just like before, zombies are sluggish in daylight, but at night they become faster and deadlier. Crane can wield melee weapons, firearms, and even unleash superhuman abilities, including Beast Mode, which lets him smash enemies with raw strength and even throw objects as weapons. Progression unlocks more skills, expanding his combat style, and the game fully supports 4-player co-op. Techland has emphasized a stronger survival focus this time. Weapons and vehicles degrade quickly, forcing players to adapt. The forested valley of Castor Woods, inspired by Twin Peaks, offers fewer parkour opportunities than an urban setting. But the world is designed to keep agility and traversal at the core of gameplay. Originally planned as DLC for Dying Light 2, Stay Human, the story leaked in 2023, prompting Techland to rework it into a standalone game. Unlike the branching story of Dying Light 2, the Beast follows a more linear narrative, aiming for a tighter, more compact experience. Crane's return was a major moment for fans, with voice actor Roger Craig Smith reprising the role. Techland officially revealed the game at Gamescom 2024, and while it was initially targeting August, it was delayed slightly to September. Players who owned the Ultimate Edition of Dying Light 2 will get the game for free, though that edition was pulled from sale in late 2024. 4. Ghost of Yotei. Ghost of Yotei is the upcoming standalone sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, developed by Sucker Punch Productions and published by PlayStation Studios. It's set to release October 2, 2025, exclusively on PlayStation 5. The game is played from a third-person perspective, combining sword combat, stealth, and open-world exploration. Players now have access to an expanded arsenal of weapons, including the katana with dual wielding, Tanegashima, Odachi, Yari, Kusarigama, and the Kaginawa grappling hook. New dynamic weather effects, from snow and rain to auroras around Mount Yotei, bring the world to life. The story centers on Atsu, a wandering ronin voiced by Erika Ishii, English, and Feruz Ai, Japanese. 16 years after her family was slaughtered and she was left for dead, Atsu takes on the persona of an Onryo, a spirit of vengeance, to hunt down the Yotei 6, a group led by the renegade Lord Saito and made up of the snake, Oni, Kitsune, spider, and dragon. Unlike the original game, Ghost of Yotei features a more non-linear quest structure, letting players decide the order in which they confront the Yotei 6. Side content also expands with bounty hunting, sumie painting, and even setting up a campsite where Atsu can cook or play the shamisen. Classic activities like hot spring baths and bamboo strikes also return. For presentation, the game introduces 2 new cinematic filters inspired by the styles of Takashi Miike and Shinichiro Watanabe, alongside the returning Kurosawa mode. The setting draws heavily from northern Japan, with Mount Yotei and Lake Toya serving as key inspirations. The team worked with cultural advisors, visited sacred sites, and collaborated with the Ainu people to create an authentic depiction of 17th century Hokkaido. Ghost of Yotei was officially revealed at PlayStation's State of Play in September 2024, and even picked up a nomination for Most Anticipated Game at the Game Awards later that year. Now it's set to arrive on October 2nd, 2025. 5. Battlefield 6. Battlefield 6 is the next mainline entry in EA's long-running FPS franchise, developed by Battlefield Studios, a collective effort between DICE, Criterion Games, Motive, and Ripple Effect. It launches on October 10th, 2025 for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X/S, and PC. The single-player campaign is set in 2027, following a global conflict between a fractured NATO and a private military company known as Pax Armada. It marks the series' return to a linear narrative campaign, the first since Battlefield 4. Multiplayer remains the core with 4 classes: Assault, Engineer, Support, and Recon, each offering unique perks, though any weapon can be used across classes. Assault focuses on rifles and grenades with faster healing. Engineers specialize in repairing and destroying vehicles. Support excels in healing and resupply, while Recon dominates at long range with sniper perks. Weapons are heavily customizable but limited by attachment slots. A new kinesthetic combat system introduces smoother movement. Players can lean from cover, hitch rides on vehicles, and drag allies to safety before reviving them. As always, destruction is central. Buildings can be leveled, floors blown out, and combat zones within larger maps offer tighter close-quarters action. At launch, 9 maps are confirmed, with more coming post-launch. Classic multiplayer modes like Conquest, Rush, Breakthrough, and Team Deathmatch return, along with Battle Royale from Battlefield 5. A new mode called Escalation gradually reduces capture points, forcing players into intense endgame battles. The portal creation tools from Battlefield 2042 are also back, now powered by the Godot engine. Behind the scenes, development hasn't been easy. Reports surfaced in 2025 of burnout, cultural clashes, and ballooning costs that pushed the budget beyond $400 million. To rebuild trust after Battlefield 2042, EA launched Battlefield Labs, a global playtest that shaped many gameplay adjustments. The team has cited Battlefield 3 and 4 as its main inspirations, aiming for a more serious tone while mixing in destruction systems inspired by Bad Company 2. The game also brings back controversy with its Javelin kernel-level anti-cheat. While effective, blocking over 300,000 attempts to cheat, it conflicts with Riot's Vanguard software, forcing some players to uninstall Valorant to play. Battlefield 6 was officially revealed in July 2025, following leaks and multiple open betas that drew over 500,000 players. Progress from the betas will carry over into the full game when it launches on October 10th, 2025. And that wraps up the biggest game still coming in 2025. If you want more, check out this video right here. I think you'll enjoy it.